Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh, Shalom, Shalom to the host of the left out there. I'm going to title this video. This will be two-part, two titles. First one is IUIC is now teaching that the picture Caesar Borgia is the mark. And the second title is Barbarians, Scythians, and Russians. And we're going to show you that the Russians, a lot of these Russians are actually Israelites. Remember, we were scattered throughout the whole planet, right? So a lot of these rough-ass Russians are nothing but Israelites. I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them that look like Edomites. So let's do this here. Okay, this is a video that was put up a month ago. This is, I believe, a radio show. Which is hashtag IUIC, does moving toward a cashless society indicate the end is near? IUIC events. Well, it should be, does moving toward a cashless society indicate the MOTB? That's what it should have said. Moving toward a cashless society, you know, the CBDC, the Fed now, you know, the digital currency as a whole on the world, because it's going to be a world thing. It's not something that the United States came up with and everybody's saying, oh, that's a good idea, because it's already in Nigeria and other parts of the world. And there's 198 countries out there that are signatories to the UN, which the UN is part of this wicked ass system. Now, is the UN part of the beast? No, it works with the beast. So out of 198 nations, as I have said in other previous videos, there's 114 nations. That's clearly more than half of the nations of the world. They are partially or in the works of, you know, changing their money system over their paper dollars, whatever you want, you know, what you call it, reserve notes, you know, whatever, which is paper money, fiat money, because it's issued from the by the government. This is our money that is going to be digital now. So this is not some idea that the U.S. came up with. They all got the memo from the super elite. So what the IUIC is saying is they're saying they understand now the CBDC, the central bank digital currency. They understand it, and they're not. They know, but believe me, they know that it's the MOTB. When they put the CBDC, the Fed now, the international digital dollar, whatever you want to call it, eventually you'll be able to use, if it's all digital, you would need a credit card, right? A debit card, right? Eventually, you have a lot of people that have their debit cards or their credit cards in as an app in their smartphone. So you see a lot of people, you go shopping, you see somebody pull out a credit card. Matter of fact, I had to use one my credit card. You know, I like using paper cash, but I had to use it because the self checkout, which I always use, because I'm in and out quick, they said cash, no cash. You know, it was like a temporarily no cash. So what popped up was a credit card, debit card. So I pulled out my debit card, boom, made the payment, and I was on my merry little way. So like I said, you might be cashing out and you see somebody, I pull out a card, boom, credit card or cash, boom. Somebody pulls out a smartphone, they wave their smartphone. In rare situations, and this is in Europe, Sweden mainly, you'll, instead of pulling out a credit card or a cash or a debit card or a smartphone, and they just take their left hand, because on that side of the world, everything's on the left, and swipe their hand, and all of a sudden, you know, the purchase is made through. So they turned their right hand or left hand into a debit card, credit card. so that deducts from your, from your account. So that's the mark. That's the charagma. That's the charagma. I don't know why they can't see it, but I believe that the leadership of the IUIC can see it. I believe that Bishop Nate can see it, but my personal belief is, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but he's going to have to, it's going to smack him instead in the face. He's going to have to deal with it. But anyway, time and time again, he has said about the mark, he said, it's sin. It's sin. So now they're saying it's the picture of Caesar Borgia. Maybe they're saying it's the picture of Caesar Borgia and sin. So that means if the picture's image of Caesar Borgia is the MOTB, I guess you have to carry around a picture, a wallet-sized picture of Caesar Borgia to make purchases. Where's your picture of Caesar Borgia? Oh, here it is. Oh, okay, you can buy and sell. You see how stupid that sounds? But then you got people that blindly, the scriptures say, well, there's a term, a cult of personality. Like Donald Trump is a cult of personality. Donald Trump is a cult of personality. So you can look that up. I'm not going to look it up for you. Somebody can put in the comment section and the stream. So anyway, let's listen. Let's listen.
It's foolishness. This is the man of sin that is being revealed by the Bible in these latter days. And that same man of sin has pushed sin into your brains so that you will agree with everything that he says and all of his policies. All right?
Basically regurgitating what he learned from the leadership, starting with General Netanyahu. And that's what they all do. They're masters of regurgitation. That's all they are. I'm not saying that he's not sincere. Maybe he's a sincere man, but he's sincerely wrong. You're going to find that out. You're going to wake up. You're going to say, oh, shit, GMS was right. Let's listen to that again. Now, let's listen to that again. I'm sorry. Let's listen to that again.
Science, military, those are his power signs and life, wonder, different resources. Why do we always have to go to the European nation? You ask yourself why? It's because they've infiltrated your land. And that's why the Bible said the man of sin will exalt himself above all that is called God. And his whole mindset is this. We strip down to verse 9.
Verse 9, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders.
His power and his signs and lying wonders is his media, his science, his military. Those are his power signs and lying wonders. Go back to that picture real quick. When you see this right here, he showed you that he was Adam on the left and that he was God on the right with all those homosexual baby butt naked angels sitting around him. And Adam and God are touching hands. It's just foolishness. This is the man of sin that is being revealed by the Bible in these last days. And that same man of sin has pushed sin into your brains so that you
that same man of sin has pushed sin into your brains. So you mean to tell me that before the so-called white man pushed sin into our brains, we wasn't sinning? Wasn't sinning? Why are we under the curses? Deuteronomy 28. If you commit sin, merely saying this, in my words, not keep the commandments, commits, which is sin, you're going to be cursed. So the white man was pushing you in the wilderness. Yeah, go ahead, commit sin. What did the Apostle Paul mean when he said, it's not me that sin, but sin that dwelleth in me, O wretched man that I am? So did the Edomites make him sin? No, he sinned on his own. Sin is in our members because we're not perfect. We're subject to sin. That started from Adam. So he's saying, like, we ain't sin. Israelites are not sinning. They ain't no Jake Moes out there. They ain't no happy people, no lesies out there. They ain't no stick-up kids among Jake. They ain't no our people that's worshiping other gods. So the white man did that. So the white man made you believe in Allah and a black God or Kemet. Let's listen to some more.
Agree with everything that he says and all of his policies. All right. Now,
Policies only apply to nations, sovereign nations. There's a policy, which is a law, so you can understand. They have a policy where, like in Uganda, they're trying to change the policy. Babylon is trying to change the policy as far as happy people are concerned. In Uganda, the law against a happy person is the grave. So they're trying to say it because this is human rights takes precedence over anything that you feel and think. So like is a back and forth. And I did another video. You can look for it yesterday, as a matter of fact, where this reporter from CNN, she's talking to the president of Uganda and saying, "Do you know, you gotta have human rights. You gotta protect everybody's human rights." And then she says, this demon says, Barack Obama is how do you say it, is upset at you. And the guy kind of looked at him because he knows about Barack Obama. We all know about Barack Obama. He's the last guy to be, saying what he's saying with his hypocrite ass. Anyway, that's fornication. That's in the cup, the golden cup in the woman's hand. That's fornication. That has nothing to do with the charagma. I did a video, a short one. Revelation 17, verse 4 has nothing to do with Revelation 13, verse 16 and 17. Like I said, the day's going to come, but they have that aha moment where all these guys in the IUIC, they're going to say, oh shit, GMS was right. So let's continue on.
Give me Ezekiel 28. Look at this right here. This is the man of sin, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalted himself above all that is called.
He's one of the men of sin. He's not the man of sin. He's not like a superhero that God come to give you sin. Okay, the man of sin represents this man, like this man's army. They ain't talking about Joe Army. Here goes Joe Army. That's his army. He owns an army. No, this man's sin is talking about this nation of men. This guy ain't ruling nothing. He ain't saying a damn thing. He's just a damn picture that's out of style. Nobody believes in this. Any Negro that believes in this, you deserve the chip and you deserve to be put to death. Here it is, 2020, almost 2024.
Oh God, this is it right here. He tell you that he's God. You don't have to tell you with his mouth he's God. He shows you in his movies and his television and in his artistry. This book right here is called The Borgias by Marion Johnson. It shows you what Pope Alexander VI of Rome commissioned Leonardo da Vinci to paint his son, Cesar Borgia, which is at the bottom right, the bottom two right corner pictures are Cesar Borgia, and the top pictures are the images that will come up with Cesar Borgia being the model.
And that's true. That's true. They showed you that. And there was a series, very good series on Showtime called The Borgias. And there was one of the episodes where they asked him, did you get the commissioned picture of your son? Something to that effect. And they had an actor look like Caesar Borgia. So this guy right here, Caesar Borgia, is based upon, so-called Jesus Christ is based upon the guy Caesar Borgia, which he was he used to have sex with his sister Lucrezia. It was said that he killed his brother. I believe he attempted to kill his father, and he died in battle. He was trying to breach a wall, and I think he got shot with an arrow and died. So he wasn't all that important. He was somewhat important. Anyway, let's listen.
And that's your Renaissance era Jesus, which people know and love today, which is not Jesus. It's the devil that the Bible speaks of. That's what it means in Revelation 13. He'll cause you a mark in your forehead, Catholicism.
So now it's the picture Caesar Borgia, and it's also Catholicism. So if you go to a Roman Catholic Church, you took the mark. It's not sin. Oh, it's sin. Caesar Borgia, Roman Catholicism. See how they keep changing the story? Now, you can go to all our videos. We ain't never changed the story on concerning the MOTB. We ain't never changed it. Go find me a video where we changed the story.
Christianity, that's a part of that mark. Malawi, heavy Christian nation. Many African nations, heavy Christian nation. What a dab of Islam is. There's a dab of Islam, especially as you get up into the sub-Saharan. But majority Christian nation. Where did they come from? Colonialization. Colonialism and colonization. They sent these nations into your country, these different priests and so on and so forth, Jesuits, to force you to be Christian. Now give me Ezekiel 28:3.
Meaning to force you to have the mark. So the mark is already here. This woman right here, which look like a Jacob, one of the Latin tribes, kissing the feet of Caesar Borgia. This is a white priest. So she got the mark, so she can buy and sell. So can you buy and sell? Can General Netanyahu, can he buy and sell? Can he go to BJ's or Costco's or Targets? Can he go and buy and sell? Can his family do that? Can your congregation do that? So they're saying the mark is already here. So if the mark is already here, then how in the hell can you buy and sell unless you got the mark? So it ain't talking about Christianity. Ain't nobody asking General Netanyahu, are you a Roman Catholic? In general, yes, I am. And then you do the sign of the cross. Let me see your credentials. You pull out your wallet and there's a picture of Caesar Borgia. Okay, son, you can come and buy and sell. Do you see how stupid that is? But see, when you got people that blindly follow somebody, like I said, the cult of personality, that means you blindly follow somebody. And you don't really get to, analyze whether this guy is real, whether he's pulling a fast one, whatever the case may be. This guy, the Yahweh Yuhan Mitchell, the Yahweh Ben Yahweh individual, and we ran to their people. They actually came to the school at One West. There was a point, and this was before they were murdering people, allegedly weren't murdering, but they were broken up off of that. The people that left that congregation, the head man would say, according to FBI reports, that they would go out and kill them, allegedly. And they were killing people that, that they were like, we don't like the fact that this temple is here and all that, and they were killing people. So if that's the actual case, then that's cult of personality. He was able to tell people, look, go and kill that guy and go and kill that guy. Yes, my Lord, and go out and kill a guy. That's total. You're basically a zombie, and you made this guy your cult leader, your God. You made him a God. You lifted him up to be more than a man. He's an actual God. I did a video of General Netanyahu guy. I got used to saying that in the Paleo Hebrew. Netanyahu guy's Paleo Hebrew. That he put up a short from the video 10 plus years ago that we think about going to Ghana. So I don't know if they're bringing it up. I don't know if they're going to make the move now. They got the money, the resources. They got enough people. We're going to set up a community in Ghana. So we'll keep your eyes out on that, where they're going to actually make a move to Ghana with all their 10,000 people and set up a big community. We'll see what's going on. I'm not lying on a man, making things up. I'm going by a video that I just saw yesterday. As a matter of fact, in the video that I made, I actually put it up there. Now, and I gave it to a couple of brothers, elders, apostles rather, told them to pass it on. But like I said, it's an old video, but he was thinking about it 10 plus years ago. We were thinking about going to Ghana. So I believe he got such a hold on these people's mind that they'll do it. They'll get passports. They'll go out there. They'll become what do you call it? Expatriates, meaning they break off from being U.S. citizens and become Ghanaian citizens. And really, they can't come back as citizens, but they can come back to visit. But if they want to deport you, you decide to come back. Well, no, you're not an American citizen. Well, I used to be. Well, you're not no more. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what's going on, man. Everything. The prophecies. We're at the last few prophecies. The major prophecy that's getting ready to take place, as I said before, I sound like a broken record, but if you don't like it, you can move on, is the Charagma. And you see what's happening in Russia, right? With the Wagner Group. You got the head of the Wagner Group that wants to take down Russia. So that's a proxy war. The people that's fighting for Russia, the Wagner Group that's fighting against the people of Ukraine, they're now trying to take down the head premier of Russia, which is Putin. So now that's another war. That's another war against two allies. And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna come back to this subject. I'm gonna say this: the Russian military, they're battle tested. The Ukrainians are battle tested. The Wagner Group, that's all they do is war. They live for war. They live for war. They love war. They love hearing bombs go off. They love ducking bullets. They live for war. That's their comfort zone. Now these the people over here in America, you got guys in the military, right? They train and all that, but guess what? They're not battle tested. They ain't killed nobody. If the closest thing that they come to killing somebody is having a war game. But these motherfuckers in Russia, the Ukraine, them are some crazy motherfuckers, man. They know they're gonna go out there, they're gonna either kill somebody, they're gonna get killed. Then they don't care. They don't care. So there's a lot of stuff. Keep your eyes on Russia, the Wagner Group, and the Ukraine. Keep your eyes on that, man. Keep your eyes on that. And like it says in Isaiah 13, they're not going to give a damn about your gold and your silver. I'm talking about Babylon. They said they're not going to give a damn about your children, your pregnant women. They're not going to give a damn because ultimately they're going to shoot the missiles knowing that infants are going to be killed. Pregnant women are going to be killed. Women are going to be killed. Men are going to be killed. Old people are going to be killed. Dogs, cats, cattle. They saying, fuck it, we're going to set this motherfucker on ablaze. And that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. The Babylon the Great will be set on fire. All 5,000 square miles of it. And the number one enemy that's going to do it is Russia. Because keep your eyes on Russia and Iran, because they're going to ally with them. Those Arab nations in the northeastern part of Africa, the Libyan people, which is Put, the ancient people of Put. So we're almost out this bitch. We are almost out of here, man. The most important thing that you can be doing right now is prophesying, that you be occupied in prophecy. What is that? Ecclesiastes 39, I believe, in the first couple of verses. Be occupied in prophecy. Apostle Paul said, 1 Corinthians 14, the first couple of verses, it says the most important thing that you can do is prophesy, but rather that ye prophesy. So most of our videos are going to be prophetic.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 28, and verse 3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from you.
So he said thou art wiser than Daniel. Remember we were showing you earlier about how they're going to be able to go into your bank account and basically take funds out or add funds in at their discretion. How do they get that technology to be able to know what you have in your account? How do they have all the people in America, all the people all over the world? How are they going to have every single person have a database where they can control their funds? You never asked yourself that? Where does that type of understanding of knowledge come from? It comes from the devil. They got that knowledge from Satan. That's why it says he is wiser than Daniel. Daniel was noted and known as one of the wisest men in the Bible. But this so-called white man that has exalted himself above God, he is wiser than the prophet Daniel because he has learned directly from the devil. Read verse 2 and 3 together.
Verse 2, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyre, thus says the Lord God, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am God.
What did he say?
And thou hast said, I am God, I am a God.
He said, I am God. I sit, read it again.
Because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God, I sit in the seat of God, in the midst of the sea.
Read.
Yet thou art a man, and not God, though thou set thine heart as the heart of God.
So God is talking to the Prince of Tyre. The Prince of Tyre is a similitude for the United States of America, the so-called white man. Because the Prince of Tyre don't sit and call himself God, don't exalt himself as God, ain't wiser than Daniel. This is future prophecy.
Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so this is what I wanted to do. To show you that a lot of these Russians are Israelites. It says here, I put in barbarians and I put in barbarian. When I put in barbarians, the scripture that I wanted did not come up, so I put in barbarian, singular. But when you click on it, it gives you every time barbarian is written and barbarians, because it's the same root. So it says 1 Corinthians 14:11, therefore if I know not the meaning of the voice, I shall be unto him that speaketh a barbarian, and he that speaketh shall be a barbarian unto me. So if you got somebody speaking Cantonese and somebody speaking Spanish, neither one of them can understand this out. So the barbarians don't speak Hebrew, but they're Israelites. These are Israelites. It says, where there is neither, I got to go verse or two above that. So if you teaching and a Russian guy comes up, I'm from Moscow or whatever, and he look like an Edomite, he might be an Israelite. He might be. It's in line, let me 10 verse. And have put on the new man, which is renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him. Where there is neither Greek nor Jew. Now you got these Christians saying, see, that's talking about Greeks, that's the other nations. No, these are Israelites that grew up being Gentiles. And I'm going to prove that. Where it says the scriptures speak about cast him out as a heathen man, we're going to look that word up to show you that it means an Israelite. Even Elder Mike said that. Pastor Mike, whatever his name is, where there is neither Greek nor Jew. What is a Jew? Is different. How is a Jew different from a Greek? A Greek is an Israelite whose line go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that have lost their way. And a Jew is someone that grew up and knows that he's an Israelite, circumcised on the 8th day if he's a man. It says circumcision, which is a Jew, nor uncircumcision. The Greeks were uncircumcised. It doesn't say about Cornelius being circumcised or not, but he was most likely not circumcised. That's why there was a big thing in Acts 15 chapter about people that came into the fold not being circumcised, and you had Pharisees that believed in the Lord. They said, well, wait a minute, they need to be circumcised. So they had that council called the Jerusalem Council. If you go to Google and you put in Jerusalem Council, it's going to lead you to Act 15. And that council was whether these new believers, proselytes, proselytes um, uh, can go in the kingdom if they're not circumcised. So the conclusion was the head, Peter, starting with Peter, he said, no, they don't got to be circumcised. But there's certain, they can't eat, meat with blood in it. And they, then later, the Apostle Paul said you can't commit adultery. Those are certain sins that you can't do. But other things, we ain't going to put too much of a burden on you. So it says, circumcision, which are the Jews, and uncircumcision, which are the Greeks, Israelites. Barbarian. Are they different from Greeks? Well, they are, because they might speak a language, they might not speak Hebrew or Greek, but some other language. But these barbarians are Israelites. The Scythians. Now I'm gonna go into the history of Russia, and I'm gonna show you that the Russians go back to the Scythians, which are these are Israelites, bond nor free, but the Messiah is all and in all. It says, put on therefore as the elect of the Most High. Why did Paul say that? Because the Lord is only going to save the elect. He's not going to save all of Israel. The elect of the Most High, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy, kindness, humbleness, of man, meekness, long suffering, forbearing one another and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Yahushua forgave you, so also do ye. Now, IUIC and IUIC had a quarrel. So that wound up being a little bit of a rumble, man. Let's say there was 30 guys on the IUIC guy side and 30 guys on the ISUPK. The IUIC wasn't going to put them on their backs. That was going to be a straight up fight because it was man to man. It would have been man to man. That would have been a straight up fight. And a couple of the motherfuckers would have got hurt. Maybe somebody would have got killed. If somebody had a gun, somebody would have got shot. So they were both wrong. They were both wrong. Because the Apostle Paul said in 1 Corinthians 6th chapter, I went through this in the previous video, why not take wrong? Why not be defrauded? Okay, let's go. Boom. Let's just go to a place where they know they can't find us. Take them 6 months to find us. So Paul is talking about, when the Greeks and the barbarians and the Scythians came in, that they are Israelites. So you gotta tolerate their madness in the hopes that they come around. Going back to what I said in previous videos about long hair. The Apostle Paul got on the men of the church of Corinth because they had long hair like women. So he said, you man, you ain't supposed to be having long hair. And why did he say that? When you check the scholars out, they say because the Greek young men glorified themselves in having long hair. And they were also in the orgies and sleeping with their fathers' wives, their stepmothers and all that. That's all that Greek shit. They were eating pork. So now this is what I want to do. Let's pull out some words. And like I said, I want to go into the word heathen, in which even Elder Mike, and if I'll find a video, I'll put it up on this video right here, where he says that, matter of fact, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this right now. Bear me for a minute. See if I can find it. So when you come across the word Greek in the New Testament, maybe except for one or two times it's talking about the actual other nations, I'll say 99% of the time when you come across the word Greek in the New Testament, it's talking about Israelites and a Gentile state of mind. Heathen in the New Testament, Israelites in the Gentile state of mind. but sometimes it's talking about actual heathen or Gentiles. Gentiles, mostly talking about Israelites in the Gentile state of mind. Greeks, barbarians, Israelites, uh, Scythians, Israelites. Um, um, what is this? Well, let me just do this. Cross the line. Radio. Okay. I believe this is where I found it. Okay, so let me do this. Okay, this is it right here. 3 minutes and 30 seconds long. So this is where Pastor Mike Holloway admits, when they were having in the midst of this debate, that the heathen, that when the scriptures say cast him out, of Israelite, as a heathen man, he says that that's talking about an Israelite that's kind of looked at as another nation.
Inside the Nation Radio. Who is your question for?
Hey man, peace, brother. My question will be for both gentlemen.
Okay.
It's a scripture in Matthew the 18th chapter, verse 17. From Jarvis, I mean they can read it themselves and just read it out loud so we can hear them break it down. But my question is, where it says, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican, what does that look like?
All right. When you want to go first?
What this is the equivalent to what we can do to each other as a nation. My mama used to call me a heathen because I didn't go to a Christian church. I stopped going to church.
Captain Tazariak was a heathen at that time until he came into the truth that he was an Israelite. So he was a heathen. And his mother was a heathen.
Mama called me a heathen. Now I'm her son. But she calling me a heathen because of the way that I'm conducting myself.
And that's beautiful. In Captain Tazariak's household, when he was young, his mother was going to church. And she said he didn't want to go to church or whatever the case may be. So she said, you ain't nothing but a heathen. But wait a minute. Isn't that the biological child of you? So how can he be a heathen? Well, the same reason why Timothy's father was a Greek. So they'll say, see, Timothy was a white man. His father was a Greek. No, her father was an Israelite that didn't want to accept being an Israelite. He fancied the Greco-Roman Empire. He was probably in the military. It doesn't tell you that. And his mother and his grandmother, Eunice, what's the other one? I always forget their name. Eunice and Lois and Eunice. I forget which one is the grandmother and which one is the daughter. But Paul pretty much told Timothy, he said, look, that spirit that you in, you got that from your grandmother and your mother and your grandmother. Because they believed, they were in the laws, but she happened to fall in love with an Israelite that was a Greek, happened to fall in love. But the whole household were Israelites. His father just didn't accept the fact he was an Israelite. By the way, Timothy is a Greek word. So his father said, we're going to call him Timothy. We're going to give him a Greek name. So she had to submit because that's the man. So that shows you right there that you had unbelievers that were Israelites. And that Lois or Eunice stayed with that man because they loved each other. And out of that union came out Timothy, and Timothy happened to become a believer. But Paul gave credit to his mother and grandmother. So let's listen on.
So in that verse when it says, let him be unto as a heathen man and a publican, this is a Israelite man that if he does not hear. Right.
He's an Israelite man because he's open to the gospel, to the truth.
and mend the bond with his brother, you cut him off and treat him like a heathen or a publican. So now he's no longer a part of the congregation. So even though he would be an Israelite, even
You look at him like he's an Edomite. He ain't nobody Edomite. Really, he ain't an Edomite, but you're going to look at him as an Edomite.
though he would be your brother, he no longer would be a part of you. That's what Christ is saying in that verse.
Yeah, first I want to give a shout out to Caps.
So this is Pastor Mike Holloway.
Mom for calling him a heathen. No, I'm kidding.
So Pastor Mike Holloway, he said, I'd like to thank your mom for calling you a heathen. Well, you know what? She wasn't lying when she called him a heathen because he wasn't in the fold. But guess what? She was a heathen too. So let's listen on.
That's funny. I might make a clip and send it to her. Look what this pastor said for you.
But anyway, to a certain extent, I think Cap and I may agree on this text. I think that it was clear that a person who doesn't listen can be excommunicated from the covenant people of God. Right? They can be excommunicated. And that is in essence what this is saying. If a person refuses to hear the instruction, they can be excommunicated. There's no disagreement there. The problem is when you try to make that all the nations. And so anytime we see Gentiles, these just folks that's just been excommunicated, that's a leap that the text doesn't take. But I think Cap and I would agree here in terms of the immediate context. Yes, you can be excommunicated. That even happens today in the Christian church. If a person fails to in the good.
Yeah, because this Pastor Mike Holloway he seems sincere. You know, he's pretty much doing what I believe that what Paul did. Paul was going after the Christians because he thought he was doing the right thing by the Most High. That's what is that? Either St. John 16 or 15. I'm not going to go to it. Somebody can put it in the comment section. But I'm gonna say this: if Pastor Mike Holloway sincerely looks into these scriptures and checks out our videos and asks enough questions, he's gonna wind up saying, and he's one of the elect, he's gonna wind up denouncing that whole Christian thing, and he's gonna say, "Where's my garment with the fringes on it?" Okay, because you know when you put up Israelite, mainly one Wester, against a Christian, they get beat down, man. They get beat down in the spirit because they don't understand. They don't go into the words. Now you got a lot of Christians going into root words. They didn't do that before. Why are they going into root words and going into history and going into the etymology and the hermeneutics? Why are they trying to be more like Christian scholars? Because we're more like scholars. We're scholars. And the word scholar, so what do you mean you a scholar? Somebody that goes to the first grade in elementary school is a scholar. A scholar just means somebody that's being schooled. That's all that means. That's all that means. Look the word up. So now this is what I want to do. Okay, let me go. The man quoted Matthew 18. Just give me a second here. Do it this way. Matthew 18. Okay. Okay, and if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. And if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican. A publican was a tax collector, so they hated when the publican came around. And one of the men that followed Yahushua was a publican. So we're gonna look up the word heathen. Ethnikos.
Strong's G 1482, ethnikos. Ethnikos.
Ethnikos. It says adapted to the genus, meaning gene, or customs of a people. If you, let's say you were born in, let's say you're a black kid and you were adopted by a traditional Japanese family, you're gonna wind up speaking Japanese, you're gonna eat with chopsticks, you're gonna kind of act, you're gonna do the things that Japanese people do. You got black, so-called black people in Japan that speak fluent Japan. I was born in Japan, the military that was over there. So they act and they eat, and the things that they like to do is the same thing that an actual Japanese like to do. So that's what a Greek is in the New Testament, a Gentile, a heathen. Okay, peculiar to a people nation, suited to the manners or language of foreigners. That's why they were called Greeks. That's why when you come across the word Greek in the New Testament, like for example, Gentiles, Galatians 3 and 28, when it says Jew and then Greek, those Greeks are talking about Israelites. The perfect example is Cornelius. Strange, foreign, or stranger in the NT New Testament, savoring of the nature of pagans, alien to the worship of the true God. So Cornelius' parents were alien to the nature of the true God, but Cornelius found the true God through the angel. Heathenish of the pagan Gentile. They're also called Gentiles. Ye were Gentiles, carried away by these what? Dumb idols. And not just the dumb idols, they were eating all kind of things that were against the law. They had tattoos, they had marks in their flesh. They were not circumcised. They didn't keep the Sabbath. This is not hard. This is not hard. So let me come over here. So Greek are Israelites. Jews are Israelites that knew that they were Israelites. I'm singing to the choir. Y'all at GMS, y'all know what we're talking about. This is really going out to these people that don't know. Hopefully, Pastor Mike Holloway is watching this. Circumcision, nor uncircumcision. Barbarian. Now we're gonna look up barbarian and Scythian. Then we're gonna go into the history of the Russians and show you that the history of the Russians were the Scythians and the barbarians, but mainly the Scythians. I'm gonna give you a perfect example of a barbarian. WAC 100. I don't know if y'all saw WAC 100 and Brother Polite on the phone, and WAC 100 got into that spirit. Look, I'll hop on a plane right now, 5 hours away. I'll bring my ass down to Florida in 5 hours. I'll see you face to face. He would be classified as a barbarian, you know. But he's an Israelite. He's one of our people. So you got to deal with him. It says one, or like gangbangers and stuff, these hardcore gangbangers, they will be considered barbarians. It's a one whose speech is rude. Look, nigga, what, nigga, what, motherfucker, what? Nigga, I'll knock your motherfucker, I'll beat the shit out you. Just say it again, nigga. Say it again, nigga. It's a one whose speech is rude, rough, and harsh, one who speaks a foreign or strange language. So they didn't just speak Greek, they spoke other languages as well, which is not understood by another, used by the Greeks of any foreign, ignorant of who? Of who they are, of the Greek language, whether mentally or moral, mental or moral, with the added notion after the Persian War, I don't even know what that's talking about, of rudeness and brutality. The word is used in the NT New Testament without the idea of reproachfulness. So you got barbarians 6 times, and the barbarous people showed us no little kindness, which means they showed a lot of kindness. That these barbarians, these rough people, when they encountered us, they were kind to us. For they kindled a fire and received us, everyone, because of the present rain and because of the cold. 4th verse, same chapter. And when the barbarians saw the venomous beast, these barbarians were Israelites living outside of Jerusalem, not knowing that they were Israelites, which was a snake, on his hand, they said among themselves, no doubt this man is a murderer. So they understood that murdering somebody, the gods are going to get you. So they believed in God, but they didn't know who that God was, whom, though he have escaped the sea, yet vengeance suffers not to live, or suffers not him to live. In other words, that you murder this guy and the spirit is coming to get you. So they knew that there was a spirit hiding in themselves. Which, why? Because they were Israelites. Read Acts 17. They had a placard to the unknown God, meaning the Athenians knew that there was a power hiding in them, but they didn't know the name. So Paul said his name is Yahushua, which is the mediator between the Most High, the Father, and man. It says, I am debtor both to the Greeks, meaning the Israelites in a Gentile state of mind. In other words, when the Apostle Paul was sent out, and any of them, if you're an Israelite, this truth, we got to give you the truth. And the what? And the barbarians, both to the wise and to the unwise. So you got a lot of like IUIC, and there's nothing wrong with what they do. They go out to the hood. Well, guess what? You got it. Jake is in the middle class, you know? You got higher up class Jakes, because it ain't the elect is not just gonna come out the hood. It says, therefore, if I know not the meaning of the voice, I shall be unto him that speaketh a barbarian, a person speaking another language, not Hebrew, and maybe not even Greek, or some cases Greek. Greek was a big language back there. A lot of the Romans spoke Greek and Latin. And he that speaketh shall be a barbarian unto me. See, I shall be unto him like a barbarian. So 2 people talking 2 different languages with no interpreter. And that's what tongues is all about. For you dumb, monkey-minded church people, tongues is not sounding like a broken motorboat. Tongues mean you speak in another language and you have an interpreter there. That's it. That's all it means. That man, just the spirit on him, that man just spoke in tongues. What did he say? I don't know what he said. Well, wait a minute. That's a demon if you don't know what he said, because you have to have an interpreter. Colossians 3, verse 11, where there is neither Greek nor Jew, meaning Israelites that are being labeled as Greeks or Gentiles, nor Jew, circumcision or uncircumcision, barbarian or Scythian, which barbarians are Israelites, Scythians are Israelites, bound nor free, but Yahushua is all and in all. So Yahushua came for the Scythians, the Greeks, and the barbarians because they were Israelites. So now let's look up, let's do this. Let's do this. The history of Russia. The history of. Okay, so now let's do this here. History of Russia. Where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? All right, let's do this. I should have said ancient Russia, but let's see how far it goes back to. Let's try this. And by the way, Russia is a compound word. It's two Hebrew words that means chief prince. All right. There's a lot of reading here. I'm not going to do all this reading for y'all. Okay, so prehistory. I'll come down to prehistory. And Russia was never part of the heads of the beast. Not in this time or in the past. You got people still teaching that the 7 head and 10 horns and the crown on his head and all that. And they say, well, the 7 heads are the Romans, the French, the Spanish, the Greeks, the Russians, and the British, and so forth. And out of Britain came America. No, Russia was never part of that gathering, that beast 2,000 years ago. So now we're here at a prehistory of Russia. There's a further information. Steppe nomads, Scythians, Scythia, Proto-Uralic, Paleo Siberian, Pontiac, Caspian steppe or whatever, domestication of the horse, comma culture. Come on, man. Okay, so the first human settlement on the territory of Russia dates back to the Oldowan period in the early lower Paleolithic. Paleo means ancient, old, and lithic means stone. I'm trying to. Homo erectus meaning man standing up. Asia to the north, Caucasus at the archaeological site. So you had Jakes living up in the Caucasus, in that region in the Caucasus. Let me just pull it down to here. Pull it all the way down. As a matter of fact, they didn't give me enough information. Let me put in the word Scythians. Let me do it this way. History of the Scythians. I don't like this either. Let me do this. Let me do it this way. Okay, let's try this. I'm getting ready to close. The Scythians were an early nomadic people with a shared culture, linguistic, and possibly genetic history. They first began to emerge on the Eurasian steppe sometime during the 8th century BC, the 8th century BC, when they replaced the Sumerians as the dominant people in the region. It ain't telling me much. Let me do this. Okay, let me just find my place here. Okay, you got Elam, Babylon. You got this has to be the Mediterranean. You have the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea on either side. And then you had the beginnings of Russia. Russia would be over here. So they were Israelites that just migrated out. Remember, they were scattered. Israel's going to be scattered. So a lot of those Russians are actually Israelites. And I met certain Russians when I was boxing. All the motherfuckers are cool as hell, man. They never joined forces. The Russians never joined forces with the Roman Empire. Like I said, I'm not going to do all this reading. But the early Russians were people called the Scythians, which were Israelites. Okay, so it says here etymology. The English name Scythians or Scyths is derived from the ancient Greek, because Israelites are speaking Greek, the ones that were in a Gentile state of mind, named Scutis, whatever. What does that mean? Derived from the Scythian endonomium, meaning ooh, ooh, meaning archers, meaning archers. I didn't know that. So the word Scythian, the Scythians were famous for the archers. Now, what did they say about Judah? To teach your sons, teach Judah their sons, teach Judah the use of the what? Of the bow, of the bow. A bow is what you put an arrow through. You pull out the quiver, you put in an arrow and you shoot it. So why were they archers? Why were they called archers? Because they were Judah. So it went from the Hebrew to the Greek word skuthes, which is Scythians, for what? Archers. Due to a sound change from whatever in the Scythian language involved into the form skuta, whatever, that this designation was recorded in Greek as skutos or whatever. I'm not even trying to read these words. So now let's go to images. So Scythian, I just found this out. Scythian means archer. The scriptures say, let me put it in there. The use of the bow. Let's see what comes up. Okay, there we go. There we go. 2 Samuel 1, verse 18. Also, he bade them teach the children of Judah, the sons of Judah, the use of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Yasha. First Chronicles 12, verse 2. They were armed and with bows, Scythians, and could use both the right hand and the left in hurling stones and shooting arrows out of a bow, even of Saul's brother of Benjamin. Well, Benjamin, they were warriors. They were warriors, man. And what does the word bow mean? You got the bow and the arrow. So let's look up the word bow. Bow for hunting, battle, bowmen, archers, archers. The Greek word for archer is Scythian. The people, the Scythians, the history of the Russian people are known as the Scythians. Let me do one more thing. Let me go. Let me take the word Scythians again. Scythians. By Scythian. Scythian. You know what? Let me do it this way. Let me do it this way. Scythians. See, it says Scythians in the Bible. Scythians. Now I'm going to go to images. Notice they got the beards. This is a warrior clan, a warrior people, a warlike people. There was one with an Afro pick. One of the pictures, they took it out. They had an Afro picture of an ancient Afro pick. The men of Saul's army, the Benjaminites, they were able to use bow, to teach Judah the use of the bow. Okay, let me pull this up. Look at that. Scythian Greek depiction of Scythian archers on Attic poetry, whatever, ethnic relations and migrations in the ancient world. Now you can see that this guy got a beard. And you can see that the man's black. That's an original Sith Lord, Scythian. See what them Jakes were doing, they were raiding them Edomite and they were taking their women, and that's how they became light. The only so-called white boys that can deal with Jake on a sports level, boxing, MMA, is them damn them Chesnians, them people from Dagestan. Look at this. Look at that. There's a Jake right there. That's a Jake. And see, now if you notice, he's looking back because he's shooting. He's pulling the arrow out because he's running from the enemy. You know how niggas, when they get in shootouts, they run and they put the 9 and they're running and they're shooting back, hoping they can hit somebody. Well, they have to say these were the fucking old ancient 9s. This is a nigga right here, a Negro. See, one of his compadres got shot down and he's fighting. He's shooting them arrows. You got to pull him out quick. Boom, boom. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.